Hey guys, I know it's been a minute, but I've been reading a whole lot. Like, I can't just create, because you can't create unless you learn. So I've been just reading a shit ton. And my favorite book so far is definitely this one, The Secret History of the World. I'm halfway through it and it's totally changed my perspective. But first, I'm not going to get into that. First, I want to get into Finnegans Wake, okay? I swear to Jesus H that page 240 is a prehistorical, precognitive description of Tupac's existence. I know it sounds ridiculous, but let me just read single words from this one page alone. And if you know anything about Tupac, you listen to my mixes, then you'll definitely recognize some of these phrases. Okay. Born of a thug tribe into brood black male. Hennessy's. Death's Rose in the lava bad eyes. Aftrek, kind of like African. Drank, weed-hearted. Drug malt, store use. Most profitable, spelled like a prophet. Oh, and the second page as well. Dig ditches, assassinated by some man. Chronic. Pig, well, he's the ear of the pig. Great for greeting his immenseness. Smug pipe. Let me see. Others accuse him. Dope in stock-knob. Swigamore. Copped. Bloody bastard shooters. Whore affirm. I'm not saying it's just like, dude, Death's Rose, DUTHSTHROWS, page 240 in Finnegans Wake, is Tupac subconsciously going into James Joyce's fucking ether. Thug Tribe, Hennessy's, Weed-Hearted, Drug Malt Store. What? L'assassinated, Chronic, Swigamore, accused of him of Lockneed Forrester, dope, bloody bastard shoot. Read it yourself, and you'll see for yourself. Crazy discovery. Okay, anyway. I also got a new Great Magnificent Disappointment, a book about the Great Disappointment, another one, so I'm going to go into it. Yes, it's from a Christian's perspective, but that's exactly what I needed. I want to see how they really think it came true, because I'm going to prove it literally came true. It wasn't just heaven that was recleansed, it was the earth, with Nietzsche's Zarathustra, Quetzalcoatl's reemergence. So, The Secret History of the World, I really respect the author because he's not an author. He just read his whole life and then all of a sudden he wrote a book. It's just like Nietzsche says, I don't like to read people who write to make books. I like people who think normally and just happen to create a book out of it. Okay? He talks about how when you're being initiated into the secret societies, you go into a spirit world and you do hallucinogenic stuff. And spirits turn into demons or angels according to your attitude. Exactly like the DMT trip. And he says that the history of Odysseus killing the Cyclops and David slaying Goliath in the very center of the eye represents the time in history when the third eye brow chakra was diminished and we had to start use our reasoning faculties. Okay. It says the spirit world had to be put to sleep in order to develop reasoning faculties. The sacrifice of the brow chakra is necessary so we can therefore afterwards have a conscious part in transforming the world. So it's not all just spiritual and then we don't have anything to do with it. We had to diminish that spiritual side with rationalism and Moses and all that. And Moses said that specifically you can't worship images of God because you have to make your own abstract thought possible. So then after this conscious affirming, we wait for the time of the return of Apollo when we can make a conscious transformation of the spiritual world. Makes so much sense to me. Also, he mentioned the idea in pi that in Hebrew, every letter is also a number, and that the tree of knowledge is, 144, if you add it up, and the Garden of Eden is 233. You divide the Garden of Eden by the tree of knowledge, you get 1.6180 phi. Okay, so the evolution of consciousness is through nature and the organizing principle of the golden ratio. Also, when you're guided through the spirit world, you see animal-headed guides, long passages and chambers. Crocodiles would tear you apart. A bright light shining through the cracks of the edges, a sound like a millions of bees, and mighty oceans of giant weaving waves and light and energy. DMT, DMT, DMT. NED, near-death experience. Whatever you want to call it. It's that thing before this body. Okay? And also, of course the Aztecs came from a land in the water called Aztlan, Atlantis. But the most interesting part is this. Melchizedek was a really mysterious character in the Bible who kind of initiated Abraham into the secret teachings. And they say Melchizedek was really Noah, the Atlantean leader in the secret doctrine. And it's weird because Melchizedek has every letter in Nietzsche's name except N and T. And then, of course, Noah starts with N. Nietzsche, Noah. Anyway, it gets better. It says that Melchizedek never died. He just went into a different dimension and returned at different intervals every 1,000 years to help the next person. So he helped Abraham to become a spiritual teacher and to initiate him into the higher realms. So Melchizedek, the Atlantean leader, i.e. Quetzalcoatl, comes back and helps a certain person. And this time it was Abraham. So y'all would think that my Hebrew name is Benjamin or whatever. It's Abraham. So is this generation the next archetype of him returning? I just never get to literally shake his hand. What's weird is also this book mentions in the Sumerian cylinders that human bodies had certain pictures. There's human bodies with beehive heads. Like, it's an illustration of the hive consciousness they all had prior to conscious reasoning, development. The last and coolest part of this fucking amazing book, and I'm only halfway through it, y'all. This is the best buy I've made this year for sure. The Kali Yuga was the Dark Age from 3102 BC, pretty much 12 years after the Mayan calendar. It lasted till 1899. And he's saying that the occult societies in America specifically put up monuments in America in 1899 to illustrate the end of this dark cycle. And what's interesting is that, of course, Nietzsche dies in 1900. So at the very end of Nietzsche, we already have his writings. We already are saved. Okay? And I didn't even mention, I have my book out. Y'all can actually purchase it for like $2, or you can wait a month or two for the hard copy because I'm still revising it. Because they have to like mail it to me and stuff. I have Nietzsche's Antichrist on Lulu.com and a Wilde Nietzsche, my Oscar Wilde Nietzsche dialogue between each other. I know the paperback price is a little hefty, but that's as cheap as they could make it, and I didn't have any more to say than those 25 pages. But if you just get the download, it's legit. I'm selling my books now, y'all. I can't not make it seem not important by not charging people. I mean, yes, I have all the ideas pretty much on my channel, but if you want to, all my charts implications say that I'm a much better writer than I am talker. So if you want to see that stuff in a conscious, coherent, non-rabbling way, you should definitely get the Nietzsche's Antichrist pamphlet. Peace.